Kong's fintech has been evolving over the last 3 years in particular. We've seen a lot of changes that has taken place because of a big move by the regulator in terms of smart banking. If you look at 3 years ago, Hong Kong had only about 100 to 150 fintech startups, and now we have over 450 to 600 startups in Hong Kong. We're focusing both on the B2C as well as B2B market. As the largest financial center in Asia, there is a lot of focus on B2B banking and solutions for B2B. So we see the areas of wealth tech, reg tech, and payments being a major focus. Blockchain has always been something that Hong Kong has been engaged in, and we have seen a lot of traction in blockchain in the last few years. So Hong Kong, there are two ways of looking at it, right? So average revenue per user will be higher because the per capita income in Hong Kong is much higher in dollar terms. So 40,000 US dollars. Now, you're right, B2C side, there's a lot that has been saturated. Hong Kong is completely banked from a B2C perspective. From a B2B perspective, you could say that SMEs are being underbanked. There is more need for bank accounts as well as banking services for the companies, SMEs and small startups. But on the other hand, it has always been a traditional financial center. So if you look at even B2C, a lot of banking is done in physical branches. Cash is still king in Hong Kong, so mobile payment numbers will be less than 20% of the actual volumes that take place for transfers. And now the regulators have started pushing for more on virtual banking and more payment options. So you have e-wallets, you have the virtual banks themselves and other licenses granted to ensure that more people are moving towards mobile and digital. So there's still a lot of change. When it comes to Hong Kong's difference with other parts of Asia, we have to keep in mind that Asia has many different elements. So from the very emerging nascent economies of Laos and Cambodia, all the way to the developed markets of Japan and Hong Kong. Hong Kong's behavior is very much from a developed economy, behaves a lot like the United States and Israel, and you see that people are more traditional. They prefer meeting the banker, doing more things with the banking personnel. But now there's more education going in, there's more focus from regulations and the industry to get people on board in terms of being more digital. So I see that as a transformational phase. On the B2B side, again, people were used to doing things the traditional way. Technology is just to offer rails but not being really using solutions. Banks went in with first just having an innovation head to now actually having innovation departments, multiple people, and coordinating with fintechs to be able to bring up solutions that they can implement not just for today but for the future as well. So Hong Kong's funding environment in the last 3 to 4 years or before that is the big VCs are more so driven from the family offices. You have very large family offices who may have their own VC funds, and then of course you have the big name VCs. So typically Hong Kong investors would like to participate in a fundraising rather than leading it. So you would have the gap in the seed to Series A. Hong Kong investors do get in quite a lot in the Series B and Series C, not just in Hong Kong but also in international investment. So the gap was more on the seed to Series A, and now the government is coming out with schemes that can support it. You're also seeing the growth of angel investors in Hong Kong. Now on the bigger rounds, you see both from, you had about $1.4 billion or more raised in Hong Kong last year. It's number 3 in Asia after India and China, China being the largest. You had SenseTime, which is an AI startup, raised close to $1.2 billion last year. You had a bunch of large-scale, 100 million plus Series A and C rounds for a couple of companies, and also quite a good chunk of $10 to $50 million raises. So Hong Kong's fintech investment has gone up quite a bit last year. I think it's probably 5 times what it was in 2016, and I see that growing. Lastly, Hong Kong is a great place for companies to come and do their IPOs. It's a very mature market, the most number of IPOs in the world, and a lot of Chinese fintechs, in particular, mainland Chinese fintechs, look to come to Hong Kong to do their IPOs, and that is a trend that I don't see changing in the coming future. So Hong Kong has taken probably an approach of wait and watch for some of the parts of fintech, and in other cases it's gone ahead and implemented things. So when it comes to any regulations, the first rule is customer first and protection for the end customer. So ensuring that there is protection for those means for customers is important. So when it comes to cryptocurrency as well, it's been a very carefully watched approach by the regulators. The central bank has named Bitcoin as a virtual currency, but SFC has been a bit proactive in terms of looking at securities and how crypto exchanges can function in Hong Kong. They're not banned. People can use it provided the tokens are not securities themselves, right? That's on crypto side. Otherwise, crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending is not there in Hong Kong yet. Again, it's an element of protection for consumers and end consumers' suitability of products. That's a big focus. However, the regulator is very aware that they need to catch up in terms of technology advances, and they have been doing a lot of proactive initiatives in the last 2 years. The government as well has been pumping in a lot of money into innovation and development of fintech and startups in general. So we see that big change. Lastly, I would like to add that when we look at Hong Kong, people expect Hong Kong to be super fast in reactions, but that's not necessarily possible when you're looking at the world's third largest financial center, because a lot of B2B businesses need surety in the regulations and development of technology to be able to implement that. So Hong Kong has to wait for sometimes for development of certain use cases before they can implement or approve them.